If anyone told me how hard it is to move an aquarium, I would have thought twice about upgrading that aquarium for this bigger aquarium. This is me telling you at 8 o'clock in the morning how easy it is to move an aquarium, and that I will show you how it's done, give you all the tips and tricks, because I thought that I was prepared. But I made a lot of mistakes, and I want to tell you about my mistakes so you don't have to make them when you're planning to move an aquarium. So the first and probably biggest mistake that I made was trying to squeeze the preparation and the execution in one day. So my alarm went at 7 in the morning, we started at 8 in the morning, and we started by grabbing some aquarium substrate, swapping a car with a larger car so our transport could fit the aquarium. And those things, we also went to the fish store to get some bags to transport the fish, and all those things could have been done the day before. And if we had done that, I would not have ran out of time in the evening, because we got back around 6 o'clock, and then I had to make sure all the fish were safe. So by far the biggest mistake that I made was not separating preparation and execution when preparing to get this aquarium, because we had to drive about 1.5 hours and obviously 1.5 hours back to where this aquarium was. When we got to the place of the previous owner of this aquarium, everything went smoothly. We drained the aquarium, we put all the fish that were in the aquarium in plastic bags, we removed the substrate because otherwise the aquarium would be too heavy to carry. We put it all in buckets, we put it in the car, and we drove back. The second mistake is when I arrived home, and this aquarium, the small one over here, was still filled with fish and live plants. Now it depends whether you're upgrading an old aquarium to a new aquarium, or whether you're just getting a new aquarium to start with. But the mistake that I made was not having enough cycled filter media to keep my fish safe. Now what I mean here is when you get an aquarium, a pre-owned aquarium, and you have to drive for a longer time, then the filter media that's inside your filter has completely died, because there are a lot of beneficial bacteria that break down the ammonia produced by your fish into less toxic waste. But if those bacteria don't have access to fresh water, aka continuous cycling of water through the media, then they die, and that's why you have to cycle an aquarium. Long story short, I had 2 aquaria with fish and only 1 canister filter with live filter media in it, which meant that I had to move all the fish into their new aquarium at the same evening. So you've got to imagine I got back around 6 o'clock in the evening, and I still had to move all the fish to their new aquarium. If I had plenty of live filtration media, I could have kept both aquariums running, and that would have saved me a lot of stress, and I could have better prepared for the job and got it done the right way. The third mistake that I made was not having the right equipment. So it turns out that about 240 liters of water in small portions of 10 liters per bucket turns out to be quite a lot of buckets. So here you can see me running back and forth with buckets of water. I tried using a hose, but I had not checked whether it fit on my tap, and it didn't. So I had to use the buckets. That was a mistake, because it was hard to fill the aquarium while keeping the substrate in place. So sometimes I threw a lot of water onto the substrate and it all scattered. So that's also why it isn't as tidy as I would have liked it to be. So when you get an aquarium and you move an aquarium, make sure you have the proper equipment at home to fill your aquarium. If it's a larger aquarium, I do really recommend getting some sort of hose that you can attach to your tap, so you can just leave it running and slowly filling up. When I filled the aquarium, it was completely filled with water. I had to release the fish that I bagged that were owned by the previous owner, and I also had to move the fish that were still in my old aquarium to my new aquarium. And because I was in a hurry due to mistake number 1, I made a massive mistake, and that's not temperature acclimating enough. So I completely missed the right temperature of the water because I only used cold water from my tap. So this water in this aquarium was way too cold for the tropical fish that I was going to put in it, except for the goldfish. There's a goldfish in here. I'm going to release that in the pond because it's not an aquarium fish, just needs cooler water. But the water was way too cold and I had to temperature acclimate them. But I was really stressed, so I only let the fish temperature acclimate for about 20 minutes, which would be sufficient. However, the water was just too cold for them, which causes stress. So don't make my mistake, and make sure you either fill it up with warmer water so you don't have to wait, or get yourself more time so you can wait for the aquarium to heat up to the right moment. The way I tried to solve it was using the heater that came with this pre-owned aquarium, as well as the heater that was in my aquarium, and I put them both in here. They're actually still both in here. So I was running 2 heaters to try and get the temperature of the water up as quick as possible. Yeah, that was a mistake. I should have had more time and I should have prepared better so the water could reach a higher temperature. The 5th and final mistake that I made was not researching the fish. Because I got this aquarium pre-owned, there were already a lot of fish in it. And I trusted the person selling it to me that the size of the aquarium was large enough for the fish that were housed in it. And that was the case, so no problem there. However, I myself have a lot of guppies, and I'm also breeding guppies. I just like them growing up from fry to adult guppy. The pre-owned aquarium also had 1 angelfish. And I learned very fast that angelfish are really good hunters, and they will hunt everything that's smaller than basically a Neon tetra. So my guppies, especially the male antler guppies that I have in my aquarium, were too small, and the angelfish started to hunt those fish. And if I had done my research, I would have known that this was the case. So I had to remove the angelfish, put it in a bucket for the night, because I did not want him or her, I don't know, to eat all the guppies in my aquarium. So I put him in a bucket for the night, and then I took him back to the local fish store, and they have this aquarium where you can give fish and they will try and rehouse it and find a new owner for it. Luckily, there were also some things that I did right, and I want you to make sure you have a proper stand that comes with your aquarium. So either make sure that there is a stand for your aquarium, or build one yourself. Aquariums are really heavy, so what you don't want is to use some cardboard IKEA cupboard. Instead, make sure something is solid and can bear the weight of your aquarium. Another thing that I did correct, and that you also should do, is make sure the fish that were in my old aquarium could get along with the fish that were already housed in this aquarium. I asked for a list of fish, and I made sure they were all tropical community fish so they could get along. Only thing is I missed on the angelfish being really good hunters, but for the rest they are doing very well. Very well. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because I've got a lot of content coming up. Please subscribe and stick around. If you've got any comments, whether it's about moving an aquarium or other fish related topics, make sure you drop them down below in the comment section. Leave a like if you like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers guys.